There's just not enough data to know definitively what the future of the stock market holds. That is an undeniable fact. In the world of a scientist, how many data points does he need before he can confidently draw a conclusion? To get an article published and to even be taken seriously in the scientific community, you better have sufficient data to support your claims. Published journal articles will have hundreds, thousands, sometimes millions of data points. The average pharmaceutical company clinical trial, for example, generates up to 3 million data points before decisions are made about a drug's efficacy. So how many crashes and bear markets do we have as data points to study? Upon how much data are the prevailing modern portfolio theory, that stock and bond only, buy and hold, head in the sand strategy, upon how much data are the conclusions driving that mainstream strategy being drawn? Notably that the stock market will always go up. Upon how much data are we basing that conclusion that directly impacts your financial future? Let's check it out. Welcome back to my most dedicated subscribers out there. Because you're taking this time to invest in your understanding of the investing world, you are going to be in a way better position long term. And I'm honored to be able to help you with that. Thank you for being here. So let's get to it. How many relevant data points do we really have? Well, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was first published on May 26, 1896. The history of the US stock market does, however, go back much further than that, to the formation of the New York Stock Exchange in 1817, or the Buttonwood Agreement of 1792, or even the Philadelphia Stock Exchange formation in 1790. But data from that first century is sketchy at best. Using the S&P 500, as we have been in our other videos, and as most modern portfolio theory proponents do, gives us more than 90 years worth of data. Is that enough? It is, after all, more than 1,000 months, more than 20,000 trading days. Not bad. But isn't what we're really attempting to understand here how the market will perform after a catastrophic event? That's the claim, right?
After the market falls, it always comes back, because it always has.
In that case, for our scientific analysis here, we should be examining those crises we've overcome, the ones that we've always used as proof and inspiration that you should stay the course.
You see, the market bounced back from XYZ crash. There's no reason to believe it won't recover from this one as well.
So let's explore that. Now, in financial parlance, a crash is a sudden, sharp drop in stock prices over a relatively short period of time, ranging from a single day to a couple of weeks. Bear markets, on the other hand, are sustained declines. Once the market has fallen by more than 20% from its most recent high, it's technically considered to be in a bear market. Officially, since 1900, we've experienced 33 bear markets. That's 33 prolonged drops of 20% or more from recent highs. And yes, it is true. The market has recovered from each and every one of them. Yet I doubt even an aspiring scientist would be convinced of any conclusion drawn from only 33 data points. How about this analogy? A professional bowler makes an appearance at your local alley one night. At first, you and your friends were all just casually watching as he expertly posted strike after strike. But now, without realizing it, your game is on pause and you're all staring. This guy is on fire. He hasn't missed. You look up at his scoreboard and he just bowled his 12th strike in a row. A perfect game. He doesn't stop. You and your friends are enthralled, whispering his running total to each other as he continues in the zone. He's on his third game now. You hear the satisfying crash of the pins signifying his 30th strike. And there's 31, 32. You watch him calmly bowl his 33rd strike after just as many attempts. Your friend yells in your ear over the roar of the crowd, snapping you out of your daze.
Let's make this interesting.
Now, if you knew this man planned to bowl 5 games that night, an opportunity for 60 straight strikes, which of the following 2 bets would you feel more comfortable making? 1, 100% of your life savings that he will set a new world record and bowl 5 straight perfect games, 60 strikes in a row. If so, you'll double your life savings. But if he ends those games with 59 or fewer, you'll lose everything. Or option 2, a quarter of your life savings, that he will bowl strikes on most of his remaining attempts, at least 14 of his remaining 27. If that proves to be the case, you'll double up that portion, otherwise you'll lose it. How does the historical data you have in front of you now, the 33 strikes on 33 bowls, influence your decision? How does it influence your confidence level? Even though there's less money to be made, and despite the perfect record thus far, almost everyone chooses option 2. Because obviously a perfect past record does not guarantee a perfect future performance, and we're talking about your life savings here. When theorizing about the stock market, then, wouldn't we be more correct to say that the historical data we have suggests that the market almost always trends upward after major crashes, and thus feel confident that it will continue to do so most of the time, rather than obstinately concluding that the market will always trend upward, no matter what? It's a subtle difference, but it's a meaningful one. A subtle difference in understanding that could save you from potentially devastating reality. But this bowling analogy is not even a fair comparison, though, is it? The bowler had the luxury of predictable surroundings. He was able to use the same balls and wear the same shoes. The temperature and ambience were relatively consistent throughout the games. He was in a controlled environment. When you start to manipulate these surrounding variables, the future results become much more unpredictable. The 33 data points become even less reliable. Unfortunately, the environment in which our investing experiment is taking place is anything but controlled. You see, each one of these bear markets, and the even fewer crashes, involved very different conditions. The circumstances leading up to the Wall Street crash of 1929 were very different from the Cuban Missile Crisis and Cold War backdrop during the Kennedy slide of 1962. The internet euphoria surrounding the late 90s dot-com bubble was entirely different from the crash following the Standard & Poor's downgrading of the United States government in 2011. The easy credit environment during the early 2000s that led to the global financial crisis of 2007 and 8 in no way resembled the environment that led up to 1987's chaotic Black Monday, fueled by the unforeseen consequences of portfolio insurance. The railroad magnate power struggle that led to the Panic of 1901, ruining thousands of small investors, was made up of entirely different variables than the coronavirus crash almost 120 years later, causing global stock markets to plummet more than 30% faster than ever before. A major reason we can't use past performance to prove how markets will behave in the future is the same reason that it's difficult to actually prepare ourselves for market panics. They're almost always different. The political, social, and economic climates leading up to crashes or bear markets are different. The number and competence of players involved in the market, affecting the often frenetic pace at which it moves, is different. In fact, we're always experiencing a unique combination of factors, many of which have never before been experienced in quite the same way. This means that after each crash, people, experts included, can honestly say,
"Whoa, never could have seen that specific event coming. That's never happened before."
Many of these experts will use statements like that to excuse their lack of preparedness. Perhaps many will take comfort from the fact that at least we were all wrong together. I'm assuming, however, that since you're still watching this, that's not good enough for you. It shouldn't be. It's not good enough for me either. Each time I bake cookies with my boys, our delicious baked treats come out remarkably similar. This is because I have a go-to recipe that I use. I use the same amounts of the same ingredients every time. The ingredients that went into building up and causing each and every one of these aforementioned instances of stock market chaos are very, very different from one bear market to the next. If I allow my 5-year-old to exercise his culinary creativity with each batch from here on out, I would obviously not be as sure about what to expect each time. Imagine him using twice as much sugar for one batch of cookies, 5 times the salt in another, and subbing out the chocolate chips for anchovies in a third batch. Using widely varying amounts of ever-changing ingredients will produce a broad range of results. After 15 or 33 or 100 iterations, even if the results have, up until that point, always been edible, that should in no way serve as a guarantee for you that the next batch won't cause you to vomit. To make this matter worse, when we're talking about the economy and the stock market, the number of ingredients at work is unquantifiably greater than my cookie recipe. It's preposterous to assume that we can project how things will play out after future crashes without knowing their unique circumstances. That's not even possible. Here's Nassim Taleb's conclusion on the matter. We know from chaos theory that even if you had a perfect model of the world, you'd need infinite precision in order to predict future events. With sociopolitical and economic phenomena, we don't have anything like that. We don't actually have enough data to draw the definitive conclusions mainstream financial experts, YouTube financial personalities, and even professional advisors are using to back their recommendations. In fact, in the next and final video in the series, we're going to dive deeper into just a couple of the massive macroeconomic variables that are different today than they ever have been in the past. And if you've missed the earlier videos in this series, here's the full playlist. Let me know what you're thinking about all of this in the comments, and then I'll see you in the next one. I wish you all the best. Take care.